Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and thank you for joining us today here on Cignal TV, channels 8 or 250, and for watching us also on facebook.com/OneNewsPH. Thank you for those of you who continue to search YouTube One News PH for our replays. And of course, you can download the Cignal Play app if you want to watch us on the go. Thank you also to PLDT for their home fiber optic internet service, which keeps us on the air with high-speed internet facility. Okay, today is October 21, and we have lined up three individuals to talk about a very important, I don't know if it's considered a disease, an ailment, and some of you might not even be able to pronounce the disease properly, but we will be discussing this kasi marami pong Pilipino ang hindi naintindihan yung sakit na ito, but I won't jump the gun. I will talk about that after we've done our daily starter and our front page news. First of all, our daily starter is actually from the post of Esmeraldo Boy Lopez that caught my attention. Tiga Bulacan po ito si Mang Boy, at ang ganda, he had a nice message. Paalala po sa mga kakilala ko, kamag-anak, classmates, best friends na masyado dinidibdib politika pero di pa naman ayos sariling buhay nila. Ni hindi nga sila kakilala ng mga politikong minamanok nila. Okay, may rights of suffrage tayo, pero huwag sobra. Pamilya muna, hinay-hinay lang, kabayan. Okay, in English, he's basically, he posted on Facebook appealing to his relatives, classmates, best friends who take politics too seriously while their own lives are not in order, and the fact that those candidates that they are pushing for, campaigning for, and feel so strongly about don't even know them, okay? So, or are not known to them personally. And that he reminded, yes, you have the right of suffrage, but don't overdo it. Family first, okay? Take it easy. Yan po, no? Have a juicy. Sabi nga nung commercial, nung kami ay bata-bata pa. That's our daily starter, and thank you, Mang Boy Lopez, for posting that. Please do not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if I do that, because many Filipinos have great ideas, great thoughts, and I think that the key there is ni hindi tayo kilala ng mga minamanok natin. These candidates, and sadly, some of these candidates won't even give a damn about us after the election. So please, katulad ng ilang kilala namin dyan, kahit anong katok namin, hindi makausap. Meron ngang isa dyan na congressman na pinangkampanya ng mga sabungero yung kanyang party list. Nung siya ay naging congressman, nilaglag na ang mga sabungero. Yan ang complaint ng mga sabungero. Okay, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star. And the headline for today, October 21, 2021, Thursday, third dose for healthcare workers set in November. The vaccination czar, General or retired General Carlito Charlie Galvez, Secretary Galvez, has informed the public that they have agreed that the third dose for healthcare workers as mandated or as suggested, recommended by the World Health Organization, will be done in November. Next month na po yan. And along with the healthcare workers, isasabay na yung mga taong may comorbidities katulad ni Cito Beltran. Senior na sakitin pa. Anyway, tinatawanan ko lang yan. Okay, so that's the main headline. Now let's go to the header on the Philippine Star. CHED eyes mandatory vaccination for students. Finally, gumalaw na, nakinig na, because we had suggested this a month or so ago. The Commission on Higher Education has announced that they are now seriously studying the policy that would require college students who need to attend face-to-face classes that they must be vaccinated. Hindi na po pwede yung mga option because while you may have a right to choose, sabi ng mga ilan dyan, you do not have a right to infect others. So that's the announcement by Popoy Rivera, the Commissioner of CHED. Next up, we have that photo from the medical technology students in UST. Okay? Mga medtech students po yan, pinapakita kung paano yung hindi naman face-to-face. Kasi nobody facing each other. Okay, I'm just being funny. Thursday na po. So that's at the University of Santo Tomas, where they are showing the environment, the atmosphere for medical technology students. Okay, next up. Blacklist contractors that fail to pay taxes. According to Senator Franklin Drilon, dapat daw ma-blacklist na yung mga contractors na hindi nagbabayad ng buwis ng pinagkitahan. That the government should blacklist contractors, suppliers, anyone who does not pay taxes on the income derived from winning bids and projects. Okay? Dapat po, pero one would ask, bakit pag Pilipino kinakalampag ng BIR, bakit pag Pilipino makukulong for tax evasion, ma-audit ang kanilang history, pero itong mga walang yan to nakakatakas. Okay, so Senator Franklin Drilon targeted Robin Tan ba yun? Robin Tang nung nagsusupply nitong mga medical equipment. Anyway, that's the position of Senator Franklin Drilon. All cemeteries closed from October 29 to November 2. Okay, lumang balita na po. Pinambalot na yan ng isda sa palengke. But still, it is now officially the case. Cemeteries will be closed. Now, here's the good news. 3,656 na laang. There were only 3,656 cases reported yesterday of active COVID-19 patients. Even better, there were only 5 deaths. So hopefully because of the vaccination, medyo hindi na po lumalala, pabawas na ng pabawas. So but still, like I predicted, we are closing the 41,000 na. Ito na. Kasi 40,977, ilan na lang, magpo 41,000 na ang namatay sa COVID-19. Please think about that before you do some risky activity. Okay, let's go. Schools in 329 areas may reopen for in-person classes according to the Department of Health, subject to the final approval of the DepEd and, of course, the cooperation of local government officials. Okay? Pero lahat po yan ay subject to further announcement kasi marami naman pong pagkakataon. There are many incidents where green light becomes red because of an outbreak. So 329 areas may reopen for in-person classes. Let's pray for that to happen without incident. Okay. LGUs want more time to study alert level system, particularly the League of Provinces, where their spokesperson said We only got the information or the notice the other day. We have to issue circulars, memorandums. We have to call meetings of the sanggunian, etc. This is not something that happens at the snap of a finger. We also need to put money into it. We need to put people into it. So ayun po. So the LGUs are not being resistant. They're simply following the requirements of laws and procedures and therefore are asking that they be given, I think, 1 month. Okay, moving forward. And as usual, we have our disgruntled health workers stage a rally calling for better wages and benefits along with security of tenure in front of the Jose Reyes Memorial Medical Center in Manila. Ayan na po, no? Because medyo pinag-uusapan na yung battle fatigue, yung exhaustion, and then yung lack of equipment or break time, etc. So that's the reality that our health workers are facing nowadays. Moving forward, IATF studying incentives for vaccinated people. Panoorin po ninyo ito or basahin ito and you can read it in the Philippine Star. Follow this story because apparently that is now how things are moving forward. The national government along with the business sector and many groups in the Philippines are now supporting the no vaccine, no employment proposition, no vaccine, no entry, etc. In this case, the IATF is studying the possibility that if you are not fully vaccinated, you will not be allowed to outlets such as restaurants, allowed into malls, etc. So the push now is no vax, no entry. Okay, and I think that's the last piece of news in the front page. Let's now go to our topic for the day. And maaring hindi kayo pamilyar, you don't know what we will be talking about, please give it a listen. If you happen to know someone who has had or have this disease or condition, please try to listen to our guest because this disease we are going to talk about today, we will be observing it on October 29. And the disease I'm speaking to is psoriasis. Okay? Ang spelling PSO. PSO. Psoriasis. RIASIS. No? Now, ito pong pag-uusapan natin ay we will be talking about the disease because it will be observed on October 29 as World Psoriasis Day. Now, marami po hindi naiintindihan. In fact, in a survey conducted or several surveys conducted, there are people who don't want to be near people with psoriasis, don't want to entertain people with psoriasis in their home or in their business establishments, won't date a person with psoriasis, etc., etc. Now, ano ba talaga ito? To help us, we've invited 3 individuals. One is a champion or mentor or proponent for better understanding of psoriasis. He is Vice President of Psoriasis Philippines, founder of Sorefield Youth Chapter, and mentored current Psoriasis Philippine Youth Board to get involved in advocacy work, etc. Mr. Paul Mendoza. And then we have with us Dr. Juan Javier Lichauco, who obtained his medical degree from UST, pursued fellowship training in rheumatology at Montefiore Medical Center and Albert Einstein College of Medicine, currently the section chief of the rheumatology at St. Luke's Medical Center and president of the Philippine Rheumatology Association, and Dr. Jojo Rivera, from who graduated from the University of East Ramon Magsaysay Memorial Center, and he is a dermatological resident. Naku, dami kasi. He's the chairman, Department of Dermatology, Rizal Medical Center, president of the Philippine Dermatological Society. So let's bring in Paul Mendoza, Jojo Rivera, and Dr. Juan Lichauco. Si Dr. Juan Lichauco, yung nakaitim na jacket. Si Dr. Jojo Rivera, yung naka-medical doctor sa suit. And Paul is the gentleman next to me. Okay, gentlemen, good morning. And thank you for joining us today. Siguro, umpisahan ko muna, Paul, sa mga doktor natin. Kasi pati ako bigla akong nalito dito sa psoriasis. Umpisahan ko na kay Dr. Lichauco. What does a person with psoriasis look like?
Yes. So good morning, Cito, and to our viewers as well. So psoriasis is actually a skin condition. And so patients who have psoriasis present usually with a very red and scaly and raised rashes that can be found in almost any part of the body. And so I'm a rheumatologist, no? And so Dr. Jojo is actually the dermatologist here who can explain it better. Yes, Jojo.
Okay, Jojo, kasi
Yes, okay.
nalito nga ako. Sabi ko, bakit may rheumatologist dito? Ang pagkaintindi ko, dermatological or skin disease itong psoriasis.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Rivera.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Cito, and good morning to our viewers. Well, psoriasis is a chronic inflammatory skin disease, no? And it is affecting 2% of the population. So if we are 100 million, 2 million of our population is affected with psoriasis. So how do it look like? It looks like no psoriasis skin disease will usually involve areas of the skin, no, and there are some types of psoriasis that you can only see on the scalp and the nail or in the intertriginous areas, meaning yung mga singit-singit, no? Kilikili, groin area, and so forth. So how it looks like, no? Usually it is erythematous lesion covered with thick, scaly, uh, thick scales, no, silvery scales. No? So erythematous meaning mapula siya, no? And usually it is covered with thick scales. No?
Okay, parang
So
kumbaga no,
yeah,
parang kalyo na mapula na may makintab. Yun ba yun?
yeah, oo. Na kapag if you remove the scales, usually you'll see pinpoint bleeding. No? May nagdudugo na maliliit, no?
Mhm.
So that's one form of chronic cold chronic plaque psoriasis. But there are other form of psoriasis na iba ang itsura. No? Yung mga exfoliative psoriasis, meaning the whole body is really exfoliating, no? Yung nagbabalat.
Mhm.
So merong mga tinatawag na, well, yung sa scalp psoriasis, similarly, mapula yung lesion and covered with scales. No? Yung sa kuko naman, sa nails, usually makikita mo yung nail is, kumbaga, umaangat. And there are powdery material under the nail. No? So, iba-iba ang itsura. No? Merong mga psoriasis na pustular type, no? Meaning yung parang nagnanana, no? Parang
Mhm.
maraming butlig na nagnanana. That's the pustular type of psoriasis.
Okay. Doc
So,
Jojo,
yeah.
I think medyo malinaw-linaw na ng konti. Tanungin,
Yeah.
kasi may mga nag-aalmusal, bigla ako mabato dito sa bahay ko, medyo, okay, Paul, may I know, no? Kasi, Paul, you're obviously an advocate for public education on psoriasis. The first question usually is, how did you even get into this, Paul?
Yeah, nag-start kasi yung psoriasis ko during college. Tapos, when I was diagnosed, una sabi walang cure, tapos wala akong kakilala. So yun kasi po yung pinakamahirap pagkakaroon ng psoriasis is you feel alone kasi wala kang makausap, wala kang kakilala or makarelate dun sa situation mo. And nung nag-start po ako mag-work, na-refer po sabi nung kaibigan ko, merong online group, patient support group for psoriasis. So, I started searching psoriasis, Philippines, tapos nag-join na po ako doon. Tapos, nakita ko po kasi doon yung challenges ng pagkakaroon ng may sakit. One time is, meron po kaming na-meet na isang pasyente din, kapwa kabalat. Tapos hindi po siya nakakaano, kumbaga parang gumuho po yung mundo niya, tapos hindi po siya nagwo-work, nagkukulong po siya sa bahay. Tapos nung na-meet niya po kami, yung Psoriasis Philippines, nagbago po yung pananaw niya sa buhay. And at that time, sabi ko, ilan pa yung taong ganito na walang pag-asa, nawawalan ng kumbaga drive sa buhay. So doon po ako nag-start na mag-volunteer. Tapos hanggang ngayon po, after 16 years, nandito pa rin po ako sa advokasya para tumulong po sa mga taong may psoriasis.
Yeah, but Paul, what type of psoriasis do you have? Kasi looking at you on the screen, pogi ka naman partner walang masasabing walang pigas o ano man.
Opo. Yun po kasi yun po yung isang nakikita sa amin kasi una po, magaling po kami magtago kasi dahil nakikita po siya sa balat, syempre nandun po yung stigma na baka pandirihan po kami or baka isipin na nakakahawa kami. Pero eto po yung mga lesions ko, if you'll see. Tapos sa
Okay.
legs, marami rin po. So,
Okay. Doc Jojo, parang patchy, ano yung tawag nila? Parang
Yeah.
nagmamapa-mapa. Kasi
Yes, oo.
I have family that has that, no? Pero yung parang bang discoloration lang, hindi naman malala. Parang yung ba psoriasis, yung patches pero hindi nagble-bleed, pero discolored at saka nahalata mo na mukhang parang nagpipil nga, sabi mo nga.
Oo. Well, mahirap no? Doon sa description mo kasi mahirap masabi, no? Pero ang classic picture ng psoriasis, mapula siya and covered with thick scales. Yun ang classic na picture.
Okay.
Pero
Okay.
syempre iba-iba yung minsan naggagamot na ang pasyente. So kapag naggagamot na, yung mapulang lesion na yun may later turn into a darker color. So pwedeng parang peklat na lang. Okay. So mahirap masabi. Pero ang classic picture of psoriasis is yun nga, plaque psoriasis, ibig sabihin nun, angat siya, no? Nakaangat, okay?
Yung kay Paul, ano bang klaseng psoriasis siya ang tawag
Mukhang
dyan?
chronic plaque type siya. Plaque
Aha.
type.
Yung plaque na
yan.
sinasabi mo, yung PLAQE.
Yes, oo.
Okay.
Yes.
Ngayon, tanungin ko si Dr. Lichauco. Dr. Lichauco, can you please solve the puzzle for me? What is a rheumatologist doing in this conversation? Kasi baka mapagalitan na naman ako for my ignorance.
Yeah, thanks, Cito. No? I think that baka the viewers also might be wondering bakit ang rheumatologist is also part of the care of a patient with psoriasis. No? So a rheumatologist is a doctor that provides medical care for patients with arthritis. And maybe I'd just like to first state that there are many types of arthritis. And I'm sure that our viewers might think of gout. Gout is an arthritis caused by high uric acid, but there are many types of arthritis, and psoriatic arthritis is an arthritis that is related to patients who have psoriasis. So up to 30 to 40% of patients with psoriasis can develop psoriatic arthritis. And I wanted to maybe show the previous slides to just show that psoriatic arthritis can present in many different ways. So the
Okay.
typical symptoms of a patient with psoriasis, with arthritis, is that the joints are very painful and they are swollen, namamaga ang mga joints. And so in this picture, you will see that they present in many ways. In the upper left-hand picture, you can see that the small joints of the hands can be very tender and very swollen. So talagang umaga, hindi na sila nakakagalaw. They're very stiff because of a lot of inflammation. If you look at the right-hand side, upper right hand, you can also see that psoriatic arthritis can also involve the toes. And if you look at the big toe and the fourth toe, ang very peculiar feature ng psoriatic arthritis is that hindi lang joint, pero pati ang tendon or ang litid ay namamaga. That's why if you look at the toes, the entire toe is swollen. They look like sausages. Kaya may tawag kami dyan called sausage-shaped digits. But I think that the take-home message here in this slide is if you look at the lower right-hand corner, psoriatic arthritis needs to be diagnosed early. And the treatment of psoriatic arthritis is not just about taking pain relievers. We're very concerned, because pain relievers are available over the counter, but there are many side effects of pain relievers. And pain relievers is not the solution to the problem. It will just take away or minimize the pain and the swelling. But nakita mo, Cito, no, sa lower right-hand corner, this is a patient with a more aggressive and a more advanced type of psoriatic arthritis where you have permanent deformities of the joints.
Is that a result of prolonged untreated psoriasis, or is that really the normal progression of the disease? Kasi pag tiningnan ko si Paul, gwapo. Pag tinaas ni
Yeah.
Paul yung kamay niya, para lang naman siya nakipag-boxing sa kaldero. So, pero itong pinapakita mo, Dr. Lichauco, iba eh.
Yeah.
Nag-iba na yung mga kamay. Is this because of prolonged psoriasis, or talagang ganyan lang talaga yan?
So I would say that not all patients with psoriasis develop psoriatic arthritis. We know that up to 30% of patients with psoriasis can develop this condition. But usually we say, sino ba ang mga pasyente may psoriasis na may risk, no, to develop psoriatic arthritis? So we know that patients with more severe skin involvement have a higher risk of developing psoriatic arthritis. Smokers have a higher risk of developing psoriatic arthritis. And maybe if we can just show one particular slide we prepared, patients with psoriasis can have nail changes. May mga pagbabago sa kuko. And for patients with psoriasis who have nail changes, which we can easily see on a physical exam, these are the patients na binabantayan namin because these are the patients who have a higher risk of developing psoriatic arthritis. So I think that the key here, Cito, is about early diagnosis. No? Kasi the picture I showed you with someone with the permanent deformities are
Oo.
usually patients who have not been diagnosed early. So the arthritis kasi can start out very, very mild na it may go unnoticed because people have misconceptions. They think that, oh, this arthritis may be part of aging or it may be part of because I'm eating nuts or beans. Now, these are common misconceptions. So they don't go and see a doctor right away to consult. And so the time lost from the time that the symptoms start, and if the inflammation continues, this can eventually lead to joint damage. So it's really two factors here, misdiagnosis or late diagnosis, so you don't get proper treatment. and also because you don't get proper treatment, then you follow the natural course of the disease, and that will lead to the eventual joint damage.
Okay, Paul, talk about misdiagnosis, late treatment. What is the usual experience of psoriasis patients in the Philippines? Kasi ikaw, kinikwento mo nga, na-discover mo lang na may support group, mayroon kang kilalang nagmukbok na lang sa dilim, but nakahanap ng support group. But on the average, what is the normal experience in terms of diagnosis and treatment for for the patients like you?
So far, mas nag-improve ngayon when it comes to proper diagnosis kasi po yung awareness and education, napalawak na po natin. Pero meron pa rin po tayong mga cases na sinasabi na parang galis lang yan or allergy lang yan. Yung iba baka dandruff lang yan. And syempre tayo mga Pinoy, mahilig din po tayo sa mga haka-haka. So meron pa rin pong mga cases na sinasabi na baka nakulam ka, baka nanuno ka. So sa mga albularyo pa rin po sila nagpupunta. So kami po as support group, we advocate po for them to go to the specialist doctors po. So we have our partner doctors po from Philippine Dermatological Society and Philippine Rheumatology Association.
Okay.
So yun po.
Dr. Jojo, as far as the patients go, how long on the average did they not seek a doctor? Kumbaga, nagtago. Nag-intay muna ng gaano katagal bago nag-decide, and what triggers people to go see a doctor?
Well, usually kasi ang psoriasis, nag-start yan ng paisa-isa lang, no, na lesions. No? And most of the time, this will not warrant them to seek a doctor, a consultation. And most of the time, they self-medicate. And they use topical steroids or whatever topicals na they have access to. So usually it will take a long time, okay, before they will go to a doctor. And during this time, usually ang pasyente already experiencing a severe form of psoriasis. No? So that's the problem. No?
Okay, gentlemen,
But-
let's go for a
yeah.
quick break. And after the gap, I'd like to get into these symptoms and treatment. Kasi some people are obviously misdiagnosing. They're going on pain relievers. Sabi nyo nga, Jojo and Paul, na nagto-topical treatment lang. Yung pala pwede magkabaluktot na yung mga kamay katulad ko. You will find out what I am talking about after the break here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran. Thank you for joining us here on Cignal TV. channels 8 and 250. And if you have not subscribed, may I encourage you and invite you to subscribe to Cignal TV. And of course, there's still Facebook, but the subscription is much more reliable. Let's now go to our guest. We have Paul Mendoza, Vice President of Psoriasis Philippines, Dr. Jojo Rivera, President, Philippine Dermatological Society, and Dr. Juan Javier Lichauco, President, Philippine Rheumatology Association. Gentlemen, I said that some people are misdiagnosed, taking painkiller, and nagbabaluktot or ending up with crooked fingers. And voila, I have crooked finger number 1. I have swollen joint number 2. So medyo, Dr. Lichauco, I have been looking for a rheumatologist for several months now. Medyo, ano ba to? Ito talaga, namagana talaga ito. No? I don't know if you can see. And the other one is crooked. I remember when I presented this, sabi sa akin ng doktor, Cito, that you have high uric acid, tirahin lang natin yan ng ano ba tawag? Yung ginagamit ng mga athletes, yung
Ano, steroid
steroid,
injection.
ayun, the magic potion steroid. Gumaling naman, pero baluktot na. And sumunod na naman yung isa naman tumaba, nag-overweight. So, when you started talking about psoriasis this morning, sabi ko, and I have a relative na medyo patsi-patsi. Ako, I have, tawag nito, outbreaks. Nagbe-break out yung aking skin over the joint. Sabi ko, ano ba to? Do I have psoriasis?
It would be good to examine you, but it would be good that a rheumatologist can examine you to verify, no? Kasi ang psoriatic arthritis is, as we said, an arthritis that is associated with inflammation. And ang usual pattern kasi Sito is patients have psoriasis, and then after a few months or sometimes even after several years, then they develop psoriatic arthritis, no? Well, I wanted to show you that what you have, I also have. So I also
Oh.
have your bony joints. And so because when I looked at that joint, sabi ko parang osteoarthritis, no? So osteoarthritis is a different type of arthritis. This is more degenerative. There's a genetic component to it, so you might have had ancestors who have also the same type of arthritis. But in osteoarthritis, wala masyadong inflammation, kaya you will notice that when you wake up in the morning, it just takes a few minutes and you can already start moving your hands, and it does not hamper the function of your hands. Ang psoriatic arthritis kasi maraming inflammation, it can damage the joints, and that can cause permanent disability. So functionality,
Hindi siya pa isa-isa.
pwedeng pa isa-isa, pero dapat talaga may pamamaga, no? And we have ways to document that.
Ito
Yeah.
meron. Guarantee.
Sige.
Hindi na nga
Okay.
ako makatype eh. Okay.
Okay.
One finger typing na ako.
Pa isa-isa.
Okay, but anyway, gentlemen. So, okay. Kasi may tanong dito. Nakakahawa ba raw? Is it contagious? Number 2, when you mention back pain, ang daming tao with back pains. Ako, I have a broken spine, I've had lumbosacral fusion, etc., etc. So I will dismiss that I have psoriasis in the back. But people might jump to the conclusion, ay, baka may psoriasis ako.
So, in terms of back pain, 90% of the time kasi the back pain is what we call mechanical or simple back pain, which is usually just because of a muscular problem. And so, ang typical story ng simple back pain is when I move it or I exert effort, it's painful. But when I rest at night, it gets better. Ang back pain kasi ng psoriasis, ibang klase, iba ang story. So patients usually have psoriasis and they can have back pain, but the pain is worse, especially in the morning when they wake up. They have a lot of morning stiffness, so they have difficulty getting out of bed. But as they move and as the day progresses, the pain actually improves. So medyo baliktad yung story. And this is what we call inflammatory back pain. And this is
Ayun.
often missed nga. This is often missed because people will always think that back pain is just because I exerted too much effort, and so they don't go and see a doctor. Yun
Okay.
pala, it is
Na,
part of the psoriatic arthritis.
Dr. Rivera, how do you guys check for psoriasis? First, I mean, siguro yung kay Jojo, kay Paul, obvious. Pero in general, what is the protocol for testing if a patient really has psoriasis and it's not just an allergy, etc.?
Yeah. Most of the time, board certified dermatologists can diagnose a psoriasis clinically. But there are times that it looks different. So if there is a suspicion, okay, of other differential diagnoses, we do biopsy. So biopsy is taking a small portion, a small skin from the patient and have it tested, processed in the laboratory, so we can see in details the tissues. So that's one. No? That's the most. Kumbaga yun yung pinaka-diagnostic for psoriasis, a biopsy, a
Okay.
skin punch biopsy.
Paul, ikaw
And
nung lumabas Paul yung mga lesions mo or skin patches, ikaw ba pinandirihan? Did people treat you like you were a leper or avoided you, or did you notice na I don't get invited to birthday parties? How young were you when
Uh,
it first broke out?
I think I was 16, 17 years old.
Oh wow.
Tapos, it started kasi sa scalp ko. So at first, I thought dandruff lang siya. Then, dumating yung time na lumagpas na siya sa hairline. So that's the time na nagpa-check up po ako sa doctor. Pero I was just blessed kasi yung friends ko, yung family ko understood and understand what I'm going through. Pero kung sinasabi niyo po na kakaiba, like pag nasa labas, makikita mo yung mga tao na tumitingin sa'yo. So
Aha.
parang syempre mako-conscious ka, pero sa isip mo baka iniisip nila pinandidirihan ka. Pero most of the patients po, mas gusto po nila magtago na lang, ayaw nila lumabas. Kasi ayaw nila na pag-usapan sila ng mga tao or baka ano yung mga misconceptions na pwedeng mangyari. Kaya marami po nade-depress kasi kahit tuldok lang po yun, hindi pwedeng malaking impact sa kanya. Lalo na po kami, may mga times po na pwedeng magkaroon kami ng remission, which is wala pong sore, walang lesions, walang patches. Pero pag nag-start po namin mapansin na parang tuldok lang, nandun na naman yung sa isip namin na, shucks, baka mag-flare na naman ako, baka lumala na naman to. So, nandun po yung struggle, yung pagiging anxious, yung anxiety, and yun po.
Okay, di pa na yung suot mo ng sombrero nun.
Hindi naman, pero yung forma ng buhok, parang nakaganon, kasi gusto mong
Aha.
takpan para hindi nila makita.
Okay, you're forced to cover it up. And at
Yeah.
16 years old, I mean, that is a traumatic process to go through kasi doon ka pala nagbibinata, you become conscious of your looks, and for psoriasis to hit you at that age. Now, Dr. Rivera, how young are the patients who get psoriasis? Is this from childhood? Kasi kay Paul, 16 years old, lumabas eh. Anong edad and what are the triggers?
well, it can affect any ages. No, actually, we have infantile psoriasis. No? So that young. No? Pero in most cases, we maybe at the age of adolescent, it is already increasing. The number of patients that we saw on that we usually see in that age group is already increasing, and we started monitoring them. Well, of course, no, the more there is such a thing as Kebner phenomena in psoriasis, meaning the more if your skin is kumbaga traumatized, no? So that is kung halimbawa you play sports, kinamot mo, nagkasugat doon sa area na yon. Most of the time psoriasis starts on these areas, no? So yung if the age group is exposed on activities that will traumatize the skin, the chances of having the psoriasis lesion is higher. So as you increase as you grow older, talagang as it depende rin sa work natin, no? So how much your skin received trauma will also be a predictor. And also, I want to share stress. No? Increasing stress will trigger also psoriasis. So age group that receives more stress usually have this experience psoriasis more. And
Okay,
also,
so
I want to
yeah.
answer your first question. No, is this contagious? No, it's not. No, it is immune mediated and genetic, and there are a lot of environmental factors also that can trigger or that can influence uh, psoriasis. Yeah.
Okay, so hindi po buni, hindi po contagious skin disease ang psoriasis. It is a immunogenetic problem. Am I correct in saying that, Dr.
Yeah,
Rivera?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so now the question is, what are the treatment options regarding psoriasis? Kasi sabi niyo na kanina, some people, Dr. Lichauco, you said some people have the tendency to just buy pain relievers, not realizing that it's not going to solve the problem.
Yeah. So they really need to see and seek consultation with a specialist to confirm the diagnosis, no? Kasi once we confirm the diagnosis of psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, I think now more than ever we have better treatment options than before. No, so well, for psoriatic arthritis, pain relievers are just meant to be temporary. They're just there to relieve the symptoms, but they are not meant to be maintenance. But we have a variety of medications that we normally see if we treat the psoriatic arthritis. It can hopefully also treat the psoriasis or the skin. We have oral medications that are offered, such as methotrexate, that require monitoring, and we have also now what we call injectable medications called biologic agents. And these medications, kasi Cito, are very valuable because they not only reduce pain and swelling, but it can prevent joint damage. And so, can you imagine if we are able to diagnose a patient early and we are able to start treatment, the proper treatment early, we can actually provide a better quality of life because we can prevent joint damage and prevent disability.
Okay, as far as arthritic psoriasis is concerned, when you talk medicine and injections, etc., are these in the realm of 100 peso amounts, 1,000 peso amounts, or kasi alam nyo, because of COVID-19, we've become so accustomed to prices of remdesivir and Tosi and etc. na
Yes.
15,000, etc. For psoriasis, how affordable are the treatments?
Yeah. So the price range is very varied. Na. When we talk about oral treatments, these are the relatively cheaper medications, and so we could say that on a weekly basis, patients may spend around 100 to 150 pesos. But the challenge, though, is that we have to remember that psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis is a chronic condition. It's a long standing condition, and we don't have a cure for it yet. So, our treatments require prolonged therapy. And that is the major challenge here because, and that is our advocacy actually as a group here. because the biologic agents, the ones that I mentioned that are the injectable medications, are very effective. But the major challenge is that it's very expensive. And so when we talk about expense, we're talking about around 45 to around 60,000 pesos a month. And that is a very big deal. And that is the
But
major
that's for people
challenge.
who are in real pain, who are debilitated, who cannot even function anymore because of the inflammation, because of the of the pains.
Correct. So we don't naman start with expensive or injectable medication right away. For most patients, we always start with the simpler and cheaper medications. But we have timelines. We have guidelines to follow, meaning that we have certain time points where we have to evaluate patients. And when we know that the patients are not responding to the conventional or oral treatments, then that is when we discuss with the patient the use of the injectable medications.
Okay, just for perspective, ladies and gentlemen, I got Hepa B, and a nutritional capsule that I take daily is 80 pesos. So it's all relative. Baka sabihin nyo, grabe ang mahal. My sister's chemotherapy, which she has to do 21 times, I think is in the ano ba ito, no? Five figure realm. Kasi hindi ako sure, mga 18,000 yata, etc. o 26,000 per chemotherapy. So, treatment and the cost of treatment, ladies and gentlemen, as Dr. Lichauco pointed out, depends kung nasaan kayo doon sa takbo ng
Spectrum.
sakit ninyo. Kasi kung maaga kayong nagpatingin, baka hindi nyo naabutin yung mahal na gamutan. The more expensive treatment, gentlemen, doctors, if I'm not mistaken, is often when the patient comes in too late and is in really bad shape, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
That is true.
Correct.
Tanungin ko lang si Paul. Paul, ikaw, pagbalik natin, pakisagot mo nga, ano ba yung treatment option mo? Meron ka na bang ATM sa kwarto mo para pagbibili ka ng gamot? We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. Joining us today, Dr. Juan Javier Lichauco, President, Philippine Rheumatology Association, Dr. Jojo Rivera, President, Philippine Dermatological Society, and Paul Mendoza, Vice President, Psoriasis Philippines. Okay, padamihan tayo ng gamot, Paul. I take about 1 dozen tablets a day for my many medical concerns. What about you?
Yeah. Good thing, Kuya Cito, na nasabi niyo po yun. Kasi psoriasis nga is not just about the skin. So, isa po sa ina-advocate namin is for an updated definition for psoriasis, which is chronic, meaning panghabang buhay. It's painful and disfiguring because of psoriatic arthritis. Tapos, marami pa po kaming at higher risk with other conditions. Like ako, I'm also using topicals para sa aking mga lesions. Tapos, last year, I was diagnosed already for diabetes type 2. Tapos, another at risk kami when it comes to cancer. Like last year, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer naman po. And I think 20% to 22% higher at risk of having cancer Tapos 46% for diabetes type 2. Tapos 53% when it comes to heart diseases naman po. So yun po yung isang ina-advocate namin na I agree po na dapat prevention is key, na dapat umpisa pa lang nagpapa-check up po tayo. Kasi di ba po tayo mga Pinoy, pag malala na, doon lang tayo nagpapa-check up sa doktor, which is too late. So yun po yung isang ina-advocate po namin na dapat you always go to your doctor, na dapat po monitored po nila kayo. Kasi nga gusto po nating makatch early on if you will have these comorbidities.
Okay. Yung treatment mo, yung mga gamot mo, marami ka bang iniinom na gamot ngayon for psoriasis or yung cream lang and pag pumutok lang dun ka lang may iniinom?
Yung sa psoriasis po kasi hindi lang po about the topicals. So syempre you need to invest then like for moisturizers, like ako
Kaya pala para ka model pare ko eh. Ang kinis ng kutis. Akala mo
Kasi-
naka-makeup eh.
Hindi naman. Kasi dahil dry nga po siya, so dapat lagi po kaming nagmo-moisturize kasi para hindi po kami mangate and hindi po siya mapunit kasi na-experience ko before na sa legs po yung sa akin, full legs. So na-experience ko na every time I step, masakit kasi napupunit yung balat ko, nagdudugo siya. So dapat you always moisturize para hindi siya ano. So yun po yung mga expenses.
Okay.
I'm just blessed din na hindi na ako umabot na dapat mag-biologics. So pag meron na po akong nakikitang lesions, I apply topicals already, then
Okay.
iwas stress.
Okay, Dr. Rivera, in your case, what are the concerns? Kasi nung binanggit ni Paul yung kanyang diabetes, I was wondering kasi if you have psoriasis and you have skin lesions, etc., and you're avoiding stress, does it follow that you tell your patients not to engage in sports or activities na papawisan sila, etc.? Bawal ba sa kanila yun? Bawal ba sa kanila magpa-araw, no sun?
Oh. Well, totoo yung sinasabi ni Paul. No? There's a lot of comorbidities in psoriasis, meaning these are diseases that can be associated with psoriasis. So, one is yung arthritis. No? Second, yung diabetes, hypertension, inflammatory bowel syndrome. And all these things happen because we have to understand that psoriasis is a systemic inflammatory disease. No? So meaning, hindi mo napapansin, there is already an inflammatory process going on inside your body, okay, when you have psoriasis. Well, we have a classification of psoriasis, yung mild type and moderate to severe type. No? So most of the cases is in the mild psoriasis, no? Yung paisa-isa lang. Pero yung if you go beyond 10% of your body surface area in cold, no, it's already moderate to severe. And this group has a higher tendency risk of developing comorbidities. So that's the reason why we really have to see the patient regularly and manage the patient so they will not go to the moderate to severe type. So when you go to the moderate to severe type, then you have to have another mode of treatment na yung oral medication, injectables. So kung another thing treatment, remember, is phototherapy. So is good sun exposure good for psoriasis? No, it depends. No, remember if you're receiving an adequate sun exposure, that's good. But if the sun exposure is damaging to the skin, then it can also worsen the psoriasis. No?
Bawal mag-sunburn.
Yes, oo. Kapag
Ayun.
nasobrahan naman,
Okay.
it can trigger. Yeah.
Okay, well, gentlemen, mukhang kailangan maging regular feature na lang ito ng agenda because I don't think I can do a lecture on psoriasis in 45 or 50 minutes because we've run out of time. But I do want to thank all of you. Paul Mendoza, thank you for your advocacy for helping psoriasis patients. And what's your website, Paul?
We have sorfield.org, and currently we are also pushing po for the psoriasis bill. So meron din
Okay.
po kaming website, psoriasisbill.org. So you can check it out po.
Okay, and thank you very much, Dr. Rivera, Dr. Lichauco, and Dr. Lichauco. Expect to hear from me very soon if you are at RMC because I am just a stone's throw away from you. Thank you very much for your
Problem,
knowledge
sir. Thank
and
you.
joining us this morning, doctors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
po.
then those are our guests on psoriasis. And here is the ending of our show. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his face toward you and give you peace. God bless all of you. Thank you for joining us here on Agenda. Please keep it here on One News PH.
Oy! Yay! Yay! Oy! Kamusta?